Howdy partners, how's it going? Well, we've had a whole day of rain again. It's all been grey, but just a couple of hours before sunset it's once again cleared to blue. Although it's pretty cool for July. I've got a jumper on and a jacket, about 15 degrees, so that's not very warm for July, is it? So, talking photography, I'm just testing out this camera here. This is a Canon 5D Mark 1, so it's quite old, and the menu looks quite sort of old-fashioned already, and the camera has no function for video, but the thing is, feels like it's built like a tank. It's very heavy, so I'm thinking about whether to buy this one. Somebody I know is selling it, and I'm just out taking a little walk with it and trying it out. But it's a bit strange when you get a new camera in your hands, especially if it's anything really that's a professional quality. It feels sort of scary when you get hold of it because it's so heavy, and you know, it's not a consumer thing. It's like a tool for doing a job, like having a proper hammer or a proper saw, and not some Mickey Mouse thing you bought for a couple of euros at the Euro shop. So we'll just take a little walk along this path. I don't know if I'm going to stay out here till the sun sets, but up there's the Black Forest. Actually, where that field finishes, if you can see that field there, that's where the Black Forest starts. And west facing here, so we're going to get we'll get a sunset anyway. I thought I'd just take a little walk down this path. I didn't fancy the bike today because it's quite muddy in parts, and I've got, in this rucksack I'm carrying now, I've got that camera I just showed you, I've got my other camera and 3 lenses. It weighs a bloody ton, I tell you. But if you're stuck in a city somewhere, I thought it might be nice for you to have a little look around here, out in the country. After all that rain, it seems like the air's nice and washed. It's nice and clear. I'm just going to follow this path down here, walking through the vineyards of southern Germany. So I'm heading down this way, and if you want to have a look with the camera, there you can see it's got a nice valley down there, and maybe a chance of a few picturesque chocolate box shots. Yeah, it hasn't been much of a summer. We've had 1 week of really hot weather, and that broke, and then it's really been almost raining every day since then. And I know there have been summers here where you couldn't wear long trousers between May and October, but this year, long trousers on. Another bad thing this year as well, it's been so wet. As soon as the sun goes down, everywhere you are, there's lots and lots of mosquitoes. I always think you've got to be quite careful about what you buy, really, because I've had situations when I've seen something and I thought, I need that for my art, for my photography. Just a little example, I got this thing that fixes onto the lens where the lens turns, like a little handle thing for pulling focus or zooming in smoothly. And I convinced myself I really needed this thing, and I got one. And I think I've used it about 2 or 3 times, and it's just sitting in a box collecting dust. And that's the problem. Often you think you really need something, and you get it in your head like a fix, and then you get it, and it's not as good as you thought it was. So I've got to have a little think about this camera thing, because as well the 5Ds, the one I'm going to buy off my neighbour, I'll get that at probably a decent price if I buy it, but the new price is about 2,500, and then you've got to buy a decent lens for it, so knock it up to, talking about 3,000 anyway, at least. So, you know, it's about the price of a second-hand car for a camera. And I've got to decide whether I'm committed enough to, because if I get that camera, then I will force myself to get more jobs, because I'll feel more adept. I'll feel like if somebody's paying me good money to do something, I want to be using professional equipment. It's like you could say get paid off someone and go out with your iPhone and just do pictures there, but it just won't cut the ice. You know, it's just not good enough. And if people are gonna pay you money, then you owe it to them to make sure you use the best equipment available, really. And also, if you've paid out some money for a camera, which is exactly what happened with my last camera, I made sure I got jobs till I paid for the camera. And I felt, okay, it's not just a silly hobby, it's paid for itself. And that's what I would have to do as well now if I get this new camera. But then that means, well, yeah, stepping up to the plate a bit more. But it's quite a good way of earning money when you're getting older, because most of my life I've just done stuff that's involved muscle power. You know, I was a landscape gardener for years, but I broke my back a good while ago now. But I've never been able to lift weights as good, or never trusted myself to lift weights like big stones or something since then. And if I do too much lifting, I got backache for ages. But so photography is like, well, it's not a genteel way of making money, but it's a way of doing it without killing yourself, if you know what I mean. And I like taking pictures of buildings too. That's one of my favourite things, you know. I like to do that. Some people are into doing street photography. That's not my thing, really. I don't like walking up to people, strangers in crowds, and sticking a camera in the face and taking pictures of them, which would have been okay before the time of the internet, if it was just all kind of private stuff, or if you were working for a newspaper. But just randomly taking pictures of people and then putting them online, I don't know, there's something just a little bit weird about it to my mind. Although I do like looking at good street photography, but it's not my bag. And I guess unless you enter a competition or something, I can't see any way of turning $1 on it either. I can't see any way of making some money on it. And you know, unless you're rich, or you've got plenty of money, that you can't really just do hobbies, you know, unless you've got a job to pay money out first. And so I like to mix things up, you know, try and get paid for what I like doing. I somehow don't think I'm going to get any good pictures this evening. I don't know why. quite a boring sky when it's a blue sky like this. It's kind of boring. You want a few clouds in there to give it definition, give it some depth, a bit of dynamic. Good job this bench is here, because when you're out on full telephoto with this thing, it's definitely waving about a lot, even though it's got 2 levels of stabilisation on this lens. So what I'm doing now is, you can still see me there, I'm going to try and get the church and the road lined up, because that'll kind of lead us into a nice picture. So there's the 2 cameras anyway. There's the 70D, and this is about 2.5 years old. There's already a next model out now, and this is the 5D here. Watch it slip on the floor now and break. But you can feel the difference, because the whole body's made out of metal, and even though this one's got more megapixels, the picture looks different with full frame. It's got a different kind of a richness. It's the colours are richer, and I don't know, it's hard to explain but in words what it is, but you can see it with your eye, even if you can't explain what it is with the words. Yeah, talking about turning your hobby into a job. I've always done it though, really. When I was a kid, I never knew what I wanted to do, and I went into engineering because my dad said it was a good trade, and then all the factories closed down in the late 70s and early 80s, and so it wasn't such a good trade to go in. But I used to love watching TV. I really used to love watching TV, even though everyone said it's a waste of time, but I used to like to watch TV, and I remember saying to my mother, I just want a job where I can sit watching telly all day. And she laughed and says, yeah, everyone wants a job like that. But I moved down to London, and I got a job at a video reproduction place, and for 5 years I spent every day and sometimes all night just watching films. So I ended up watching television all day and got paid really well for it, but when you've got to do it, then it's not as much fun as it is when you're sitting at home on the sofa. So I'll just take a little picture of that church over there, see if that comes out all right while the sun's shining on it. So the sun's going behind a cloud now, I reckon that's it. I'll make my way back to the car and put this beast in its bag. Perhaps that sunset won't be too bad actually. It's still got a while to go, and I just don't fancy hanging around up here now for another half an hour. I see a little place over there at the edge of the woods, a little hide for hunting. That'd be a good place to sit actually, to get this sunset. So we're going back into the forest. Probably too dark in there for the camera as well. So, bye-bye sunset. Hello Sylvian Glade. Take you for a little walk through the trees. Yep, you always want more. Never satisfied with what you've got. So I think I will take a little walk down to that hide. I'm terrible though. If I haven't got any photos to process in the evening, I get kind of angry. I have to go out and take a few pictures every day just to go home, so I've got something to do in the evening, because I don't watch TV, and sometimes the internet drives me mad. So I've got to have pictures to process to keep my mind sane. So that's the thing I'm talking about, this here. I'll go and sit up there, with that thing, and that little chair, attached to a beech tree, and maybe have a look out there, just to make sure I don't drop the camera and everything. Bloody steep, this thing. It's hard to get up here with all this rucksack on and everything. Ugh. Oh, that's quite cosy. And have a look at me. So, here I am in my little throne in the Black Forest, looking at the sunset from a deer shooting perspective. So I'll take a couple of pics from here and see what they come out like. Sun's behind the cloud at the moment, but I think it will be nice when the sun comes. I'm doing A, B's. I'm taking 3 pictures because I can. Looks a bit like the captain's chair from Enterprise, this. Spark, give me warp speed. Cam's log, start 8, 2016. I'm sitting in a deserted hide where they usually shoot deer and boars. But this is my new seat on the Enterprise. The Federation sent me to this benighted planet to take pictures and find out what's happening. Sometimes I wonder about YouTube, whether it's even worth putting videos on there anymore. Lots of people I'm sub to, when they put up videos, I don't get any notification at all, so I don't know there's a new video on there. And I know my videos are getting boring because I'm not putting enough work into them. And I'm lucky if I get 100, 150 people looking on one of my videos. But on the other hand, it's kind of nice to have a diary to see what you've been doing over the years. And I'm not saying YouTube's going to be there forever, but you know, it's kind of nice when I have a look and I look back to 2009 or 2010 and find something that I forgot that I'd made totally. It's kind of nice in a way, just like a diary. But it's changed a lot now. It's lots of these young types all on there, girls with their big busters pointing out, getting 200,000 hits just because the thumbnail's got a maiden on it. Or then it's just kind of young kids doing stupid stuff, which to me is stupid, but other young kids enjoy it. So they're just turning into an old fart, that's all. And the whole thing about YouTube, there is an element of narcissism there that's not so good. You know what I mean? So if any of you have watched this along, thanks for coming along. Nothing important said, no important pictures taken, but still nice. Nice for me, and I hope nice for you. Have a great day.